Hi. You can hear me? Please leave a yes in the chat to let me know that you can hear me. Hello? Can anybody hear me? Yeah, all right. Thank you so much. So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're joining us. My name is Priscilla, and today we'll be having a session, and this session is brought to you by Analytics, right? So before we get right into the session, I'd like to, do a proper mic check. And my name is Priscilla, and I'm joining in from Lagos, Nigeria. So you can just let me know your name and where you are joining in from, right? I can see Silk, I can see Mansour, I can see Job. So just let me know your name and also where you are joining in from. You can do that in the chat. Thank you. All right, Mansour from India, Adeza from Edmonton, Silk from Lagos, Timothy from Lagos, Elijah from Texas. All right, it's really, really good to have everybody here, right? This is one beautiful thing about sessions like this. You get to be in the same space as different people all over the world, right? Or somebody from Ontario, from Ondo State. It's a pleasure to have you join us today. All right, so today, so we can welcome you properly as well. If this is your first time of joining us, leave a one in the chat. So we get to know that we have new people in the house and, we can serve you a very, very healthy chops just to welcome you into the session. So if this is your first time of joining us, leave a one. Temitope, welcome. You are very, very, very much welcome. All right, so we're going to delve right into it. Silk, it's a pleasure to have you join us. So today we'll be learning how Power BI can help you get a job as a data analyst, a financial analyst, a business analyst, or a human resource analyst, right? So I don't know if you've heard of Power BI, but Power BI is a business intelligence tool. But then how can you get a job in either of these roles using a tool, right? So today you are going to see a practical application of that and how you can also, get into the tech space and land a role using a tool, right? So before we delve right into the session, because of the newbies in the house, I'm briefly going to tell you about Analytics and what we do here at Analytics, all right? So I'm sharing my screen now and I'm going to move straight into an intro of Analytics and who we are. So basically, Analytics is an educational technology company, right? And we are geared and focused on helping Africans and people of the Black community transition into tech, right? So we help you learn premium tech skills. And how do we do this? We do this by lowering the entry barrier into tech, right? So our service offerings are aimed at building capacity and understanding across different tech fields, across the data analytics, HR analytics, financial analytics, business analysis, right? Data science, cybersecurity, right? And the entire data ecosystem, right? And we do this to enable our clients achieve data-driven decision. Also, our facilitators are top professionals, right? From various organizations such as Apple, Microsoft, McKinsey, Coca-Cola, etc., right? So our courses are also structured. We don't just teach you theory, right? We teach you practical application of these tools that you will be learning, right? And today, these are the founders of Analytics. We have Adeza Suleiman and is our sole resource person today. We also have Ifemena Ipro, right? So Adeza is going to take over the session now. If you don't have a notepad and pen, please do well to get one before the session starts so you can take down points and then you can also take down questions as you have them, right? So good morning, Adeza.
Hi, Priscilla. How are you doing today?
I'm very well. Good to have you join us.
All right, fantastic. So thanks for that wonderful introduction. We'll get started with our session today. And I can see we have people coming across from different regions, and that's the beauty of virtual learning itself. Mansoor from India, we have people from Ontario, the US, Lagos, Nigeria, and so on and so forth. All right. Priscilla, I would also want you to let me know. I've been having some, little glitches here and there with my network. So just in case you have any, hang up, just let me know so that I'll make necessary adjustments.
All
Okay.
right, that's fine.
All right, brilliant. So I'll go ahead and share my slides and then we'll kick off with the session today. So I want today's session to be as interactive as possible. All right. It's not a very full house. For those in Nigeria, it's pretty early in the morning. For those in Edmonton, Alberta, I'm currently in Edmonton. It's just 5 minutes past 8, and I'm sure it's about 5 minutes past 10 in somewhere in Ontario. Okay. So let's get started with our session today. We'll dive into the world of Power BI, and what we'll do is to see how we can use Power BI to answer some questions. We won't do anything overly technical or too complex, but we'll try to see how we can use Power BI to answer key questions that exist in a business that is struggling to make a profit, to increase its revenue. All right. So we would all play a role in helping the company achieve its objective. Priscilla has gone ahead to tell us who we are, what we do at Analytics, and the essence of why we exist. And that's to help people get into the tech ecosystem in different areas. And the way we do this is by lowering the entry barrier, because for us, we tell people all the time, it's always competence over credentials. So when you have the right set of skills, it becomes easier for you to transition. So we provide you with a premium training across different areas, from data analytics to data science, HR analytics, business analysis, and so on and so forth. But today, our focus would be on data analytics, business analysis, financial analytics, and HR analytics. Okay, and just to do a bit of introduction about myself, I'm the founder of Analytics. I have close to a decade years of experience across different areas, from energy. I've worked in energy, I've worked in educational technology, automobile while I was in the UK, and I've also worked across sports and financial services. I started my career as a management consultant, but then along the line, I switched into data analytics. I've worked for organizations in the US, in the UK. I'm in Canada, in Edmonton. Recently moved to Canada to also break new grounds within the North American space, and to also help as many people, Africans, people of the Black community in Canada, to also transition into tech. So we'll be doing a lot of, amazing work in the next few weeks in Canada. So look out for that as well. Personally, I've trained well over 8,500 people across different cadres, from board chairmen to CEOs, MDs, entry level, as across the entire organization, as you can imagine. All right. Now, how would our session flow today? 3 key parts. The very first part is where we will do a little bit of practical using Power BI to solve a business problem, and then would move into how to get started in the 4 different career paths that we will be looking at today, from data analytics to business analysis, financial analytics, and HR analytics. So what are the key skills or the core skills that you need to get started? Because this is where people struggle. And I've seen a lot of people try to break into tech in all these areas, but they really don't, they struggle because they don't know how to start. They don't know where to learn. And I'll be breaking that down for you, showing you exactly what you need to do to get into any of these 4 areas. And of course, also introduce you to our upcoming programs starting on the 2nd of March, 2024, that's next weekend, and also share some amazing success stories with you, and so on and so forth. All right. So let's dive into the main meat, the very first phase of our session today, which is the practical case study using Power BI. Now, our case study would be, we will work for a travel company, okay? And this travel company, over the years, established in the year 2001, all right? But the company has been losing money recently, okay? So it's a company that plays within the travel industry, established in 2001. However, recently they've been losing money for the last three to 4 years. Now, because of these financial challenges that they have been facing, people have been leaving the company. So what the financial analyst did was to do some level of analysis, look at some metrics, key financial metrics in the company to find out that the net profit margin, the company was not making money. There was not enough cash flow coming into the business to keep certain type of perks within the organization, ongoing. And because of that, employees started to lose faith and started to lose hope that the company was not going anywhere. So there was increase in employee attrition, people leaving the company. All right. So, and the HR analyst within the business was able to also find out that there was a direct correlation between the people leaving the company and the company's poor financial performance. Because when people are leaving, what happens? There's an exit interview. You ask them to find out why are you leaving, and eventually you're able to figure that out based on analysis from all the data you have gathered from the exit interview. So the HR analysts also figured that there was a correlation between the number of people leaving the company and the poor financial performance. Now, the business analyst came in to say that we need to solve this problem, all right? Because looking at the business itself, the challenge only started post-COVID, all right? So there must be some level of changes between, within the customer behavior, how people want to travel, the type of services that they expect, and so on and so forth. So the business analyst decided that, look, what if we gather data from our current customers, prospective customers, so we can find out what they want? Because sometimes businesses only need to ask, what do you want? So we can serve you based on your needs at that particular point in time. So the business analyst suggested that, look, let's gather data, okay, from our current customers, prospective customers. Let's find out what they want so we can tailor our services to meet the customer's needs. And when the data is collected, the data analyst would be the one to analyze the data. So the very first thing that needs to be done for this travel company to start to pick up the ruins and ensure that they're able to start to make money again, business is going, cash flow comes in, and they're able to make money, is to find out what the customer wants, the customer's preference, so that every services or every offerings they put in front of the customer would be offerings based on the customer's needs. And that was a suggestion by the business analyst after the business analyst had looked at the business to analyze and come up with those suggestions. Now, two things we're going to do today. The very first one is we're going to create a survey instrument because we need to find out what the customer wants, right? And to find out what the customer wants, we need to ask the customers, what do you want? Okay. And to do this, we're going to create a form. All right. We're going to create a Google form we'll deploy that form to the customers. The customers will provide us with the data that we need. And from that data, we will connect our Power BI directly to this form so that whenever we analyze, whenever data is entered, customers fill in the form, the data is immediately visualized using Power BI. So we can take real-time decisions. We can see real-time what the customers are saying, okay? And this would be largely what our practical case study would look like today, all right? So we're going to first of all create the survey instruments, all right? The survey instruments. And then we connect this survey instruments to Power BI. So Power BI is the tool that we will use for our analysis. You can use Excel, you can use Tableau to do the same thing. It really doesn't matter, okay? But today we're going to use Power BI. And once we have done this, created the survey instrument, I will send it to you guys on the call. You would fill the form, and real time, you'd see the way the data comes in. We connect it to Power BI, and we play around in Power BI a little bit to visualize what you guys would have entered into the form. So that'll be the essence of our session today. You don't need to have any experience in Power BI. You don't need to know how to do any of these things, and I'll show you how to do that. So for the next 2 hours, I'll walk you through the entirety of our session today. All right. So let's get started. Okay, let's get started. What I'll do very quickly before I bring up Power BI and all the other things I need to do, all you need, for those of you that don't have Power BI, it's not a problem at all. Okay, all you need to do to download and install Power BI is go online and search download Microsoft Power BI. You don't need to do it now. All right. So my advice is we work together. You look at what I'm doing. You watch me do it literally. So at the end of the session, you can do the same thing. Okay. So once you go online and you just do a search, download Power BI. All right. Download Power BI desktop. You would see the links, okay? Power BI, data visualization, Microsoft Power BI. Click on one of the links, all right? And it takes you to where you can download the Power BI desktop. You want to download the Power BI desktop, all right? Second step, you click on advanced download options. So there are 2 options, download, advanced download options. You click on advanced download options, and then you come in here, select if your language is English or French or whatever the case is. My language is English. I'll select English. And of course, they are different. You can read the system requirements and what is expected for you to have Power BI downloaded. I'm going to click on download, and it would show me 2 options. The first option and the second option, which is a 64-bit Power BI version. All right. So my computer is 64 bits operating system. So I know I'll select this and click on download. But if you're not sure, you can just click on the first one and download the first one. Okay. So either of the 2, it will work perfectly for you. All right. But if you know that your system is 64 bits, I would really advise that you use the 64-bit option, click on download, you download the setup file, and all you have to do is open it, next, until you have Power BI installed. Nothing technical. It's pretty straightforward. Okay, so that's how you download Power BI on your computer. Do HR analysts and business analysts perform the same role? Totally different roles. Okay, Temitope, and I'll go into that as soon as we are done with the practical session. A HR analyst, a business analyst perform 2 different roles, okay? But there's a commonality between them, and that's Power BI. As a business analyst, you will know how to use Power BI. As a HR analyst, you would also know how to use Power BI. However, the core responsibilities are different within organizations. All right. Now, the assumption is we've downloaded and installed Power BI. Okay. So we have it somewhere in our computers. The next step for me would be to create the survey instruments. Remember, we want to gather data from our customers to know what they want. All right. Now, you can use any type of survey instrument. To be very honest, you can use Google Forms, Microsoft Forms, you can use SurveyMonkey, and so on and so forth, depending on what you have. But I'm just using Google because it's easy to use. Anybody here can open a Gmail account. You can also do the same thing I'll be showing you today. All right. So once you have a Google account, you signed into Google, just like I have. All right. This dots you see here for the Google apps, once you click on that, you'd see the different Google applications, right? Look in there, you'd find the Google Forms somewhere. Okay, so that's Google Forms. Remember, we want to use Google Forms as the survey instrument for us to deploy to our customers, for them to give us data. So I'll click on Forms. and I need to open a form, create my questions, and I can deploy those questions. So I'd come to the top left corner. Let me maximize my browser a little bit so that you can see it clearly. All right. So I'll come to the forms and open a blank form. Okay, I'll click on blank, open up a blank form. All right, so it's pretty straightforward. Nothing technical, like I said. I'm going to label my form. Let's call it travel. Cresty. Let's call it Cresty Travel. Okay, because that's the name of the company. It's the name I just formed. Cresty. Sorry, Cresty Travel. Okay, so that's the name of the company, the travel company, Cresty Travel. Now, you can put a description in here, and the description is simply just to say that the reason why you are creating this form. So anybody who opens it knows what you're doing. Okay, so let's say these are questions. I'm just typing this here. These are questions we need from you to help serve you better. Okay, so I'm just typing that in there. I mean, you'll be expected to write something more comprehensive so that your respondents would actually provide you with what you want. So let's start with the questions. Now, we're going to keep it simple, okay? But at the same time, remember, we want to know what the customers want, and we want to also know our customers. So the first thing I'll be asking, I'd want to know the gender of my customers. Are they male or are they female? So I'm going to click on the very first question box, and I'll just simply type gender. Okay, and I can select the type of questions, multiple choice. That's at the right-hand side over here. You can select short answer, paragraph, multiple choice, and so on. I love the drop down because when I send it to you and you click on it, you'd see a drop down and you can select one of the options. So I'll click on drop down. All right. And option 1, male. Option 2, female. Okay. So Google would give you, would autofill for you depending on what you want. Sorry, I'm just going to mute everybody so that we don't have distractions. Ade, is that you? Is that Ade? Is that Prince? Prince, if that's you, just say hello in the chat so I know you're the one. All right, so gender, you have male, you have female, and that will be all. Okay, so that's the very first question. Now, I'm going to make this required. Okay, I'll make this required so that you have to answer this particular question before you move to the next one, or you have to answer all the questions before you submit. So that's the very first question. Okay, so first question I want from my customers is to find out their gender, male or female. And I'll click on the plus sign to add another question. All right. My second question would be the age group. I want to know the age group my customers fall into. Age group. All right, age group. I'm also going to make it a drop down. All right, so option 1, I'll call this below 25. Okay, that's the first option. Second option, I would say 26 to 35. All right. Option 3, I would say 36 to 45. And then option 4, because I don't want to have, I don't want my options to be too long. I want to keep it short as much as I can. But I'll tell you something shortly once I'm done with this. So the last one, let's say above 40, above 45. That will be the last option. All right. So when I send this form to you, I expect you to fill and select your age groups. Now, we are not so much on the call, so it would actually be a lot more fantastic if we had more people, because then we will be able to see the, the range, the age range, and the variety and diverse pool of customers that we have. But we're going to leave it at this for now. Also make this required. In creating a survey instrument, please remember this. You are never going to do this in isolation. All right. So you're going to come together as a department or as a unit and you brainstorm. Okay. So what are the key data points that we need from our customer? What do we want from them so we can answer or solve the problem we're trying to solve? So you would have people give their own suggestions, or let's get the age group, or let's get the gender, let's get this, let's get that. So that's the way it's going to be. You're not likely going to have to do this on your own in isolation. It has to be collaboratory at the end of the day. So gender, we've gotten the gender. We're going to ask gender. We're going to ask the age group. I'll go to the next question. Let's ask the next question, which would be the destination. And I want to get this from you. Okay. Now, we are a travel company. We organize travel packages to our customers. We want to ask our customers where they want to travel to, their preferred travel destination. So I want you guys to drop in the chat, where do you think people would like to travel to? What's your own preferred travel destination? Just type it into the chat and I'll use that as the options we will be adding to our form this evening. So just type in the chat. Let's see. Temitope says Bahamas, Emmanuel, Paris. Okay, Victor says Canada. Interesting. So let's destination. Okay, I'm going to use drop down as well. Let me use the drop down. First option, Temitope says Bahamas. Okay, so Bahamas. Emmanuel says Paris. Let me see the options we have. We have Sokoto, really? Sokoto in Nigeria, interesting. California, Dubai. Let's use Dubai. Let's use Hawaii. Hawaii, that sounds like a travel destination. Hawaii, Dubai is also very popular. Everybody wants to go to Dubai at least a couple of times. Kenya, Bridget. So let's also select Kenya. So just 5 options for now, just to keep it, I would say, short and simple. Okay. Now, I'm also going to make it required so that, people would need to fill this. They can't omit this question before submitting. So Bahamas, Paris, Hawaii, Dubai, Kenya, and I think that's pretty straightforward. All right. We'll go to the next question. So now we're going to get our customers' gender. We'll get their age groups. We'll get the destinations, the destination they would like to travel to, their preferred travel destination. Now, we'd also want to know when they would want to travel, the month they would want to travel. So I'd add a new question. Okay. So I'll come in here and I'll type time to travel. When would you like to travel to any of these destinations? Okay. Now I'm going to put it this way. January equals 1. December equals 12. All right. I'm going to use numbers. Okay. I'll use numbers from 1 to 12, representing the months, January to December. Same again. I can use multiple choice or I can use the drop down. I'll simply just use the drop down because drop down is always very neat and tidy. Okay. And I'll come in here. I'll just type in 1. So when you type in 1, you can see Google suggests to you 2, 3, 4, 5. I would say add all. All right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here again, I'll put 6. Come in here, 7, 8. And of course, we're going all the way to 12, right? 9, 10. There are other ways of doing this. Okay. But this is just keeping it simple. Like I said, 1 to 12 representing January to December. Again, we want to know where the customers would prefer to travel to. We also want to know when during the year would they prefer to travel to those destinations. Okay, so 1 to 12, it's a drop down. I would also make it required so that you have to fill. All right, now 2 more questions. The next question is, who would you like to travel with? Are you traveling alone, with friends, or with family? Okay, so I'm going to add another question. I want to find out, you are traveling, so travel with who? All right, so who will you be traveling with? Again, I'm just simply going to use a drop down. First option would be traveling alone or traveling with family or traveling with friends. Okay, so are you traveling alone, with friends, or with family? Now, it's good for you to know this because you can tailor some of the packages, the type of activities, the accommodation to suit different types of customers based on their own preference. Okay, so travel with who? And the last question we're going to ask is if the customers would like to hire a vehicle, rent a car, or use the public transport. So if they want to hire a car, they'd like to rent a car, it means that you can also provide those services for them so that you meet them at their point of need. And that's where you get the customers hooked eventually. So let's add the final question. I will call this transportation. Okay, transportation. Again, how would the customers like to travel? We use a drop down and we simply, first option is what? Rent a car or use the public transport. Public transport. So use the train, use the bus, use the tram, depending. Rent a car, public transport. Also make it required. So these are all the questions we have. Okay, like I said, keeping it simple. Now, the essence of this session is how do we create a survey instrument like this, connect it to Power BI, and whenever our customers fill this form, we are able to visualize the results. We can see what they've done, what they've filled, and we can easily take decisions based on that. Okay, that's the essence of this. So we can also include hotel accommodation. Absolutely. We can include a whole lot of things. But like I said, let's just keep it as simple as we can. All right. So this is the form. All right. We have the form. The next thing I'll do is I've given the form a title here, but I also need to give it a title at the top left corner. And the moment I click on this untitled form, it's going to take the title that I've already entered in here. Okay, so if I click on this, you'd see immediately it takes the same title. So I leave it at that. I don't need to make any changes, but I need to share this form to people. All right, and to share this form to people, I would simply come to the top right corner and I'll click on what? Send. So I can send via email, or I can get a link, or I can embed this on our website. So if you have a website, for example, your company's website, you can embed this form on the website to collect customers' data. But I'm simply going to use a link so I can share it with you guys. Okay, so I click on link, okay, and it gives me the link over here. I'm going to shorten the link so it's not very long. Excuse me, I shorten it a little bit. So I select this box to shorten the form. So you have a short, tidy form, tidy link, I beg your pardon. And now I can copy this link and share it to you guys, all right? So I click on copy to copy the link, okay? And I'm going to drop this inside the chat, all right? Now, the moment I drop it in the chat and I send to you, you start to feel, okay? So let me send this to you guys. And I want you to fill the form. Answer the question. Select male or female. Select your age group, your preferred travel destination, when you would like to travel. Would you like to travel alone, family, friends, transportation? Somebody talked about spouse or something like that. No, there's no way you would know where it's coming from because we are not getting emails or we're not getting people's names, so we can't tell where it's coming from. Okay, yeah, we can rename the link so customers know where it's coming from. You can use those link shortening, what do you call it now, the bit.ly, and so on and so forth. You can use that. So you can see the responses. 3 people have responded. So as people respond, you'd see the responses in here. Okay, so 3 people have responded so far, and I want more people to respond and submit. So we're going to see how you can do the same thing. It doesn't matter in your organization, the company where you work, the company you work for. You can gather this data and analyze the data using Power BI. So 9 people have filled. Let's get more responses coming in. 10 people. Now I'm going to click on the responses. Okay. And here you'd see 12 people have responded, 13 have responded. So as you are filling and submitting, we are getting the feedback, correct? Now, this is just a part of what we want to do. The major part is to connect this to Power BI. That's the major part for us. okay, to connect it to Power BI. Now, to do this, you can see more responses are coming in 15. You click on what? Link to Sheets. Link to Sheets. Okay, so I'm going to click on Link to Sheets at the top right corner. And of course, create a new sheet. I'll click on Create. Okay, now what this does for me is it creates a sheet that shows your responses, what you are feeling. You can see the data in here. So it's no longer showing me the numbers again. It's showing me a sheet, a Google Sheet that has the responses. And as you feel, it keeps on increasing. All right, it keeps on increasing and increasing. So you can see the timestamp, which is when you submitted. The last response came in at 8:35. Of course, my time, but it depends on, I'm not sure where your region is, but it's taking my own timestamp to give me the time. It's currently 8:36 at the moment. Gender, age group, destination, time to travel, travel with who, and transportation. All right, we can all see this in here. Now, I want to connect to Power BI. Okay, what I'll do is I'll open up my Power BI. All right, so here I'm assuming you've downloaded and installed, but if you haven't, you can do this after this session. You don't have to do it now, so we can all work together. Okay, so I'll go to my search bar. I'll go to my search bar and I'll type in Power BI. So if you've downloaded and installed, you will see Power BI come up. And I'll simply just click on Power BI Desktop. And this would launch Power BI for me. All right, so I'm just going to wait for Power BI to come up. I can see more people are filling. We have 24 responses so far. I think that's pretty amazing. So let's have more people. The more responses we get, the better. Okay, so here I'll go to New and I'll click on Report. So Power BI has been constantly updating and changing things around, which is absolutely amazing. Fun fact, Power BI updates every single month. There is a new update for Power BI every single month. There's an update in January, there's an update in February, there's going to be an update in March, April, to the end of the year. And they've been doing this constantly for the last, I think, 7 to 8 years. All right. So it's a tool for any analyst that is high in demand. Any organization would love that you have Power BI as understanding how to use Power BI as a tool, and you have the skills to use Power BI to analyze data. So I'm going to click on reports. Okay. And the next thing for us to do, how am I supposed to fill the form? So Modupe Oluwa, I shared the link. All right, let me copy the link again one more time. I shared the link to you. Okay, so let me copy it again. All you need to do is open the link, Modupe Oluwa, open the link, and you will see. So let me share again, and you will be able to fill it. It's like a form you fill. For some of you to join this masterclass, you probably saw an advert somewhere. You clicked on the advert, you filled the form, entered your name, an email, and so on and so forth, and you found yourself in one of our sessions. So just to fill the form, I just dropped the link for you. Go ahead and fill. All right. So once you bring up Power BI is very unassuming. When you open it, you really don't see anything too technical. And the very first thing you see is add data to your reports. So we need to add data because we currently don't have data, brought into Power BI. But the data we want to bring now is the data from the form that we have created. Okay, so what I'll do is at the top left corner of my Power BI, I'll go to where you have get data. And of course, it's intuitive. If you see get data, you can tell what get data means. Click on the drop down where you have get data. Okay, and we want to get data from the web. Now, if you look at the form, I can see a lot of charts coming up. Let me see. Okay. Okay. All right. So when you look at our Google Sheets, let me go back to what you guys have been submitting. This is online, okay? It's on Google Sheets on the web, meaning that I can copy the URL over here, okay? If I share this URL with anybody else and I give them access, they will be able to see the same data irrespective of where you are across the globe. So it's on the web. So when I want to connect to my data is on the web. And Power BI can connect to multiple data sources. And this is another reason why Power BI is fantastic. You can connect to data on social media. You can connect to data in databases, data on the web, and so many different data sources, ERP systems, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to click on web. I want to connect to data on the web. This is one option. One option is connect to data on the web. I go and copy my Google Sheet link and I drop it in here. That's one option. Second option is I want to connect directly to the Google Sheets, directly. So all I will simply do to connect directly, which is my preferred option, I'll click on Get Data and I'll click on More because I can't see Google Sheets here. All right. So I'll click on Get Data and then I'll click on More. So More would show me more data sources I can connect to. You can see that here. I can connect to a folder, to PDF, to JSON, to SQL Server, IBM, DB2, so many data sources. Okay, we're not going to bother ourselves with all of this for now. All I'll do is where you have this search bar, just type Google Sheets. Okay, and you can see Google BigQuery, you can see Google Analytics, and of course, you'd see Google Sheets. I want to connect to Google Sheets. I click on Google Sheets, and then I click on Connect. Remember, our data is on Google Sheets. Also remember that this Google Sheets we want to connect to is a third-party connector on Power BI because Microsoft and Google are two different companies. All right. So when you have a connector to connect to a Google Sheets owned by Google, it's a third-party service provided to ensure that connection can happen. You won't see this when you're trying to connect to a Microsoft form or any other system or platform that is Microsoft-based. So click on Continue. Pretty straightforward. We understand what that means. And this is where you copy your URL for the Google Sheets and you paste it in here. So I go back to my Google Sheets where you guys have been filling the form. I go to the URL, highlight it, right click and copy. Or you can simply just Control-C to copy. All right. I go back. Once I've copied the URL, I go back to my Power BI and then I paste it in here, Control-V to paste. So straightforward. Connect, get data, go to More, search for Google Sheets, click on Google Sheets and connect. All right. It will bring up this dialog box. Enter the Google Sheets URL. Enter the URL and click on OK. Now it's going to ask you to sign in. All right. Sign into your Google account. So I'm going to click on sign in. Okay. And it will open this page. Which account are you signing in with? I'm signing in with my personal account, Adeza Suleiman. I select that, and that's all I need to do. Select it and click on continue. Okay, so Power BI is just saying that to make this connection complete, you need to sign in. All right, and once you've signed in, that's all you need. Click on the account you're signing in with, and then you go back to Power BI. All right, that's all you need to do and click on connect. Okay, and once I do this, Power BI would connect to that Google Sheet. So once I have that connection done, anybody that fills that form, any data that comes into my Power BI as well, without me having to do anything extra. Okay, so the navigator window shows me that a connection has happened and the connection is to a Google Sheet. You can see the URL. and there is a form response. The responses you guys have been entering, providing. If I click on this, you'd see the responses, all right? :1 is the timestamp, :2 is the gender, :3 is the age group, :4 is destination, and you can see that, all right? The data that I need for my analysis. Now, for me to do anything with this data, I need to select the form. Now I haven't selected, I just clicked on it, but I need to select the tick box. So I click on the tick box to ensure that I have selected. And then I click on transform data. Okay, when you work with Power BI, there is something you must always put at the back of your mind. The very first phase of the Power BI workflow, all right, I'm just going to take 1 minute to explain this very quickly. The very first phase of the Power BI workflow, phase 1 of the Power BI workflow, is called the ETL phase. And the ETL phase simply means extract, transform, and load. All right? Extract, transform, and load. Now, we are extracting our data from somewhere, which is where? The Google Sheets. Okay, you must extract your data from somewhere. Your data would be in a particular data source. Now, when you extract, you need to transform. What does transformation mean? It means so many things, but just to put it simply, transformation are simply the steps you carry out to ensure that your data is in the right shape for analysis. Because about 80% of the time, your data would never be in the right shape for you to start your analysis. So you need to make some adjustments. You need to change some things. You need to convert some data types into other data types. If you have dirty data, for example, if you have data that looks like this, maybe there is a character in front of 35. You cannot do 35 plus 35 because of this character in front of it. So if you have things like this in front of your data, you need to take them out. Okay, and this is just an example. So the process of taking out unwanted characters from your data set to keep your data clean, to put it in the right shape for analysis, is all part of the transformation process. So when working with Power BI, we always advise best practice, you must transform before you load. Don't load directly. Ensure you transform before you load. Okay. So having said that, I'm back to this page in my Power BI where I have 3 options. One is to load, one is to transform, and one is to cancel. What do you think I should select? Which of the 3 options do you think I should select? Load, transform, and cancel. Which of the 3 options should I select based on the explanation I just gave to you? Type it into the chat. Let me know what you think. BSS says transform. Emmanuel says transform. iPhone says transform. Absolutely. ETL, extract, transform, load. Always transform before you load. So I click on transform. All right. At the moment I click on transform, what happens? It takes me into the environment where I need to do my transformation. And this environment is called the Power Query Editor. It's the engine in Power BI that helps you transform your data. All right. Because of time, we're not going to do transformation to make things which would take a whole lot of time. The data is pretty clean, the way I've structured you to respond. All right. So if you don't structure your survey instrument with the type of questions that would make things easy for you, that can also become a headache when you have to analyze, because you'd have to do a lot of transformation, a lot of cleaning in that regard. Okay. Now, the very first thing I'll do, which might be the only thing I'll do, is to take the very first row. You can see that the column names are :1, :2, :3, :4, which shouldn't be. The column header should be timestamp, gender, age group, destination, time to travel. All right. So I need to take the first row and promote them to become the header. And this is part of transformation. Now, the way the data is not perfect for analysis because my headers are not correct. My headers should be the gender, the age group, but that's not what I have. I have :1, :2, which shouldn't be. So this is all parts of what? Transformation. Okay, so I need to take this first row, promote it to become headers. How do I do that? You see this icon at the top left corner. The icon at the top left corner, I click on it, and you'd see the option that says use first row as headers. Use first row as headers. So simply take the first row, use it as what? Headers. All right, so I click on it, and what happens? It uses the first row as headers. So I no longer have :1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I now have timestamp, gender, age group, destination, time to travel, which is what I want. All right. The last thing I'm going to do before I close this page is to change the name of my data set. So instead of saying form responses, let's make it simple. I'm just going to call this what? Travel. Let's call it travel. So instead of form responses, I call it travel, hit enter, and that's all I need to do. Now, transformation can be very interesting, making changes to the data, changing things, and so on. But because of time, we're not going to do all of that. I'm simply just going to close and apply. So this is doing transformation. We are done with transformation. It's time to load. Remember, ETL, extract, transform, and load. So I'm going to load my data now by clicking at the top left corner, close, and apply. Click on the drop down, and I click on close and apply. All right, so that would close my Power Query for me, and it brings me back into the Power BI environment. And you'd see it's loading the data back into Power BI for me. Okay, and what we're going to do is interesting. So when we are done building something very simple, nothing complex, we're not going to spend time formatting. All right, so we can wrap up in very good time. Now, once we are done creating and showing the numbers, answering some key questions, I'll send the link again back to you, and I want you to fill the form again. So we'll try to simulate sending it to more customers for those customers to fill, and we see how the data gets updated on our Power BI. All right, so we're going to do that. But before I reshare the link to you guys, let's bring up something. Okay, let's bring up something. Do you need to check the data set? Absolutely, you need to do that. Okay, and that's simply because, like I said, we don't have time to do all of that. Okay, the data is good. The data is good to go. I'm totally sure because of the way I have structured the questions. The transformation phase is a whole lot. You have to look at your part. You have to look at your the different data types. You have to look at if you have your dates data type correctly indicated, if you need to split some colons and so on and so forth. But we're not going into all of that, all right? Because of time, like I said, you do that in a more comprehensive, full Power BI class. Now, what do we need to do? We want to know the total number of people that have filled this, our travel in survey. We sent out the survey. We want to know how many people filled the survey. Now my data is loaded into Power BI, and I know because at the right-hand side, you can see that data set called travel. You have a drop-down arrow right beside it, and if I click on that arrow, it shows me all the columns I have in the data: age group, destination, gender, time to travel, timestamp, transportation, travel with who, which are all the questions I asked you in the form I sent to you. So I've successfully connected. Okay, and I brought the data into Power BI. Now I want to know how many people filled my form, total respondents. I want to find out. And I'm going to find out by doing a calculation. Okay, we're going to do 3 calculations today. And the first calculation would be for us to count the entire number of rows that exist in my data set. So, for example, let me go back to the form, okay, just so that you understand my explanation. So you can see this form, which is the Google Sheet. This is one response from somebody. This is another response, another response. So I'm going to write a calculation in Power BI that would count every single row that I have in here, count it for me so I can know how many people filled the form. All right. So that's the calculation I want to do now. Now, to do this calculation, which is very straightforward, I would simply go to my travel table, right click on the travel table, and I would click on new measure. All right, right click on it and click on new measure. Okay. And once you click on new measure, what happens? It shows you something that looks like a formula bar. Let me maximize it a bit so you can see it clearly. All right. And you can see measure equal to. So it's asking you the calculation you want to create, write the calculation out for me so I can give you the results. Now we're going to create this calculation, all right, and keep it somewhere. So whenever we select that calculation, it executes what we want it to do. And this measure we want to create is a measure for what? Total respondents. Total respondents. So I can say total respondents, total responses, total number of people. You can give it any name you want, okay? So total respondents equal to what? How do you want to calculate your total respondents? All right. I want to count all the rows existing in my travel table. So I'll enter a function called count. I start typing count. And when you start typing functions, which are called DAX functions in Power BI, you would see multiple options that also starts with the same, first few alphabets. Count, count A, count X, count blank, count rows. I want what? Count rows. Count all the rows for me. I click on count rows. Okay. I click on what? Count rows. So count rows would ask me, which table do I want to count the rows? Can you give me the table and I'll count all the rows in that table? All right. Now, what's the name of our table? Our table is what? Travel. So I'm simply saying total respondents equal to what? Count all the rows in the travel table. And the moment I start typing travel, you'd see it pop up. I just click on it and then I close my bracket. So what I've simply entered here is I'm writing a calculation to say, I want to know the total number of people that filled my form. And I want to do that by counting all the rows in the travel table. And I hit enter. And that's it. At the right-hand side, you'd see the measure called total respondents. All right. So that's the calculation. We're going to use that calculation to display and see the total number of people that filled my form. All right. Now we have 2 more calculations to do. I want to also know the total number of male and the total number of what? Female. Total number of male and total number of female. The same way I calculated my total respondents, I'll go back to travel, right? Click on travel, click on new measure one more time. All right. And this time around, I want what? Total male. Total male equal to. Total male equal to. Now, this will be a bit different because a lot of people filled. Some of them were male, some of them were female. If I go back to that sheet, you'd see the gender in here, right? Male, 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 female, female, male, male, female, female. So male and female filled my form. So I want to count all the rows But this time around, don't just count everybody. Count them when gender equal male. Don't count all the gender for me. Only count when gender equal to what? Male. So now I have a condition. The first time I just counted rows, count rows in the travel table. But this time around, I have a condition to say that count when the gender equal what? Male, or the gender equal female, because I want to count the total male and total female. All right. So I'm going to say total male equal to, this time around, I can't just do a count. I have to use a calculate. I would use a function called what? Calculate. So calculate would ask me, what do I want to count? What do I want to do? Do I want to multiply? Do I want to count? I have already created my total respondents. Okay, I've created my total respondents. So I'm just simply going to say, calculate my total respondents for me. That's the first one I calculated, all right? Calculate my total respondents. So I type in total respondents, all right? So calculate the total respondents, comma, but don't give me everybody this time around. I have to put a filter, which is a condition. Give me total respondents when gender, when the what? Gender. Okay, let me minimize this. I think it's too large. All right, let me minimize. So calculate the total respondents when the gender equal to what? Male. So I open a quote, I type in male, and I close the quotes. All right. So this is my expression this time around. I'm not saying calculate everybody. I want you to calculate the total respondents. That's the people that filled my form, but only calculate when the gender equal to what? Male, not everybody, so that you can give me the total male. Close the bracket and hit enter, and that's my total male. All right, and of course, I'm sure your guess is as good as mine. If I'm calculating total female, it simply calculates total respondents when the gender equal to what? Female. That will be the only thing I would need to change. So I can select the one I did for male, and I can copy, Control C. I copy that. So I do my last calculation for today, which is to calculate total female. So I right-click on travel, click on new measure, and I want to calculate my total female. So I paste the first one I did, which is for male. I just paste Control V, and I change male. I change it from male to what? Female. And I come here where gender equal to what? Instead of male, I change it to female. Straightforward, and that's how you calculate. All right, so calculate the total respondents, total number of people that filled my form when the gender equal what? Female. So I can know the females that filled the form. I hit enter, and that calculates. So now I have my total female, I have my total male, and I have my total respondents. All right, so let's start to answer key questions. Can you use the else function? Absolutely, you can use so many functions here. So many functions. You can use the if, you can use else, you can use so many logical expressions to get this done. All right, but this is doing it simply without doing anything complex. If I start to use complex functions, a lot of people that are new would also get very confused. Okay, so like I said from the beginning, we are keeping it simple. Now, let's find out the total number of people that filled the form. Okay, in Power BI, for you to show any calculation you have created, you must use one of the visualizations. So you can see the visualizations over here, all right? But I'm going to use the card visualization, card, all right? So I'll click on card, and the first thing I want to see is I want to see the total respondents, how many people filled my form. Okay, so once I click on card, you see it blank, nothing on it, it's totally blank. Ensure you are clicked on this card. go to total respondents that you calculated. We calculated this together, right? And I'll click on the tick box to select total respondents. And it gives me what? 28. So 28 people filled my form. 28 customers filled my survey. That's what this tells me. All right. If I click outside, I have 28 written on its own, but I want to put a border very quickly. So there's a line that shows this as a box. So I click on it one more time. At the right-hand side, I click on format. Okay. I click on general. And where you see effects, I click on effects. And you'd see visual border. It is off. I'm going to turn it on. Okay, so now I have a border around my number. So let's leave this here the way it is. 28 respondents. Beautiful. I want to know the total number of male and total number of female. But I don't want to create this again from scratch. I'm just going to use what I have and I'll duplicate. So I'm going to copy this. I'll click on it and copy, Control C, and I'll paste, Control V. So I have a duplicate. All right. But I don't want a duplicate of total respondents. I want to see total male. So on this duplicate, I'm going to deselect total respondents and select total male. So out of 28 respondents, 16 male fill the form. Let's see how many female, which of course it's a direct subtraction, but I'm going to copy, Control C, and paste again, Control V, put it at the right-hand side, which is a duplicate. I'll deselect total male from these duplicates and I'll click on total female. All right. So 28 respondents, 16 male, 12 female. Beautiful. Now, before I share the link to you again, so we can see how it updates, how 28 will turn to 30, 31, 32, and it keeps on increasing as more customers fill our survey. Let's find out, where do people want to travel to? Some of you said Bahamas, some of you said Paris, some said Kenya, and so on and so forth. All right. So let's see where you'd like to travel to. And I would represent that using a clustered colon chart. Clustered colon chart. So I'll click on the clustered colon chart. You have it like this. Let's expand it a bit. And what do I want to see? I want to see the destination and the number of people that want to travel to that destination. Okay. So on this blank clustered column, I'm going to click on my destination, just select. And I want to see the total respondents that want to go to each destination. So I also select total respondent and it shows me clearly. All right. So I want you to tell me, based on what you can see, where would people love to travel to? Just type it into the chat. Where would people love to travel to? Based on what you can see on my screen, just type into the chat. Of course, it's very visible. People want to go to the Bahamas and have a wonderful time enjoying the beach and so on and so forth. Fantastic. Followed by Hawaii and then Paris. Beautiful. So this is where people would like to travel to. Now let's find out, when would they like to travel? If they would like to travel to the Bahamas, when would they like to travel to the Bahamas? Okay. Again, I want to put a border around this. Like I said, we're not going to do any formatting to make it look beautiful. We're just going to, display, let's call it that, just display what we've been able to connect to using our Power BI. All right. So I'm going to add a border very quickly. I'll click on Format, General, Effects, and I'll turn the visual border on. And that's it. Now, I want to know when people would like to travel. We also created 1 to 12 for January to December. And I want to represent that using a line chart. So I'm going to click on line chart and I'll bring it up here. Of course, any chart you click on would be blank. would be blank until you populate it with some data. Okay, let me reduce this, increase this a little bit. All right. So I want to see when people would like to travel, because if we know when people would like to travel and where they would like to travel to, it's easy for us as a business to plan our packages to customers. So why are we going to package services to Kenya and Dubai when clearly our customers want to go to the Bahamas, Hawaii, and Paris? So that's a very good question. So now let's also find out when would they like to travel. So I'll simply come in here, I'll select time to travel, okay, and total respondents. But again, when I clicked on time to travel, what happened? Because it is represented in numbers, it is numerical. It summed it up for me, but I don't want the sum. So I'm going to drag this. I'll drag my time to travel from the y-axis and I'll drop it on the x-axis. Okay. And of course, immediately you would see your line from January to June to October to December. Okay. Let me put a border around this as well. So we can see on the x-axis, we have the months from 1 to 12, and then total respondents, people that selected when they would like to travel. All right. But let's put a border, and then I would ask the question where you tell me when people would love to travel. So based on the charts that we have here, when will our customers love to travel? Or let's say the top two months where our customers would love to travel. Emmanuel says December. Let's type again. Let's see the top two. So December and when, based on what you can see on my screen. October. Thank you very much for that, Emmanuel. So December and October. Thank you, Bridget. Thank you, Modupe Olua. Iniolua, fantastic. December, October, and June, absolutely. Those are the top three. So now imagine a travel company that has been losing money, and that travel company has been preparing packages for customers from January till December. So you are spending money organizing trips when customers clearly don't want to travel all through the year. They want to travel in June, they want to travel in October, and they want to travel in December. So why not focus your resources on those months so that you can maximize your revenue eventually? All right. Now let's answer two key questions and then we'll leave this particular place. And the next question we want to answer, we want to see the age group. We want to know the type of transportation and if our customers will be traveling with their friends, families, or traveling alone. All right. And I'm going to use a donut chart for that. Okay. So let's use a donut. All right. So I'll click on a donut chart. And what do I want to see? I want to see, first of all, let's see the age groups. Okay. So I'll click on age group. All right. And I'll click on total respondents. Okay, age group and total respondents. Let me add the border. Again, I'm not bothered about the colors for now because of time. I'm not bothered about that. But I want you to tell me quickly, based on what you can see. Let me focus on this. I'll click on focus mode so that it's a bit larger. All right, so it's a bit larger. And let me also increase let me increase the size a little bit so that you can see the values. Which age group represents our customers, the highest number of customers? Which age group? Just type into the chart. The top two age groups. Top two. Just type into the chart the top two age groups. 36 and 45. Thank you, Comfort. Thank you, Ezekiel. 36 to 45. All right. And then you also have the age group of 26 to 35. Now you can also make the details a lot clearer because now it only shows you the number and the percentage. But again, this is where formatting comes in. All right. If you go to the detail labels options, we can change the label contents. All right. Let's change the label contents to category percentage of total. Okay, so from here you can see it shows us the category 36 to 45, you have 42%, 26 to 35, you have 25%, and so on. So we can always change it from here. Everything you want to do with changes on any visual you've created, you do that on this icon that says format your visual. So we can clearly see our customers are a bit on the, I would say, mid-level professionals, 36 to 45. They're the ones that have the money to spend. They're the ones that would love to travel and so on. But let's see, 36 to 45 would also expect them to either be traveling with friends or families because they are a little bit above the age where you'd expect to have such type of customers. But we can also see that below 25 we have 21.4%. which means that we have a customer base that are also young, and we have to prepare and provide services to meet these customers as well. So let's go back to the report, and that's very exciting to see. Okay, now let's go. Let me reduce the font size so it's makes sense now. Okay, so let's create another chart to show how our customers would like to travel. Are they traveling with friends or are they traveling with families and so on? What I saying is display. Somebody said 50 to 60. All right. So I'm going to copy what I have already, Control C and Control V, and I'll bring this to the right over here. Okay. Just put it right beside this. And I'll delete what I have here because it's a duplicate, correct? I'll take this out, take this out. What do I want? Now I want travel with who? Who are they traveling with? Alone, friends, or family? Click on that and also click on total respondents. All right. And we can see clearly 53.5% of our customers will be traveling with family. 25% would travel with friends, and another 21% would travel alone. Okay, so this gives us, insights into the type of customers that we want. Now let's do the final one, Control C and Control V, copy and paste. All right. Now, what do we want to see? You can always adjust. Okay, whatever you create. Now, we've not even done anything fancy. We've not gone through the principles of data visualization, which is the art of making your visualization beautiful and pleasing to the eye. Okay, we've not done all of that, of course, because of time. All right, so let's do the very last one. Take this out, take this out. I want to see transportation, preferred mode of transport, and I click on total respondents. 82% would want to rent a car. And this makes sense because if you are traveling with family, you want to be together, you want to move together, and so on and so forth. So I'd rather have a car that I can drive, or we hire a driver that will drive us around, and so on and so forth. Okay. So this gives us clarity into the type of customers that we have. But now let's even make it a little bit more exciting. I'm going to share the link again one more time, and I want you guys to feel. And I'm going to refresh my dashboard, and you would see how it gets updated. Okay, I'm going to share the link again in the chat. And because we are already connected, because we are already connected, what happens? It gets updated automatically. Okay, so I just shared the form, and I want you guys to fill the form again. So if you filled it already, please fill again. Okay, so fill again. So what we're doing now is simulating more customers filling our forms. So we've deployed it the first time. some customers have filled. We've started to see, okay, people want to travel to the Bahamas. Most of them want to travel in December. So we can start to tailor our packages, tailor our offerings, our services to ensure that we are able to meet our customers at their point of needs. They also would love to rent a car, 82%. So it's a no-brainer that as a company, you have to make this service available. Also, 53% will be traveling with the family. So you want to have family packages, you want to have so many other add-ons and so on, maybe discounts for family members to attract more type of customers that would, patronize your services. So I believe more people have filled. Total respondents 28, male 16, female 12. All I need to do is to click on this refresh button at the top of my Power BI. Okay, from the home tab, I'm just going to click on refresh. And the moment I click on refresh, what happens? It will update the numbers for me. And now you can see it's updated from 28 to what? 42. 22 male, 20 female. I love it. The female are back on board. All right. They saw that the male were leading, but now they're trying to catch up and even surpass. I really love this. So now we can also see that the more customers we have, December is still number one. All right. October has also moved. And of course, now you have August. It was June earlier, but now you can also see August, falling within the top three. And of course, August is towards the heart of I would say summer. July, August, September, you have winter coming around. So it's a good time to travel around July, August. And of course, you can see August coming at number 3. You have October, and then you have December. It's still the Bahamas, Paris, and Hawaii. But top 2 is the Bahamas and Paris. 80% would love to rent a car, 52% traveling with family, and 40% are between the ages of 36 to 45. Now, what does this mean? It means that as a company, we can start to take decisions to help the business grow, to help the business make money. We're not going to offer services from January till the entire, all the months during the year. We're going to pick specific months and we'll do what? Do some promotions. We will have some tailored packages to the Bahamas and to Paris and also to Hawaii. And we have family packages in place. We have family discounts. We're going to make rentals available for our customers to rent vehicles. And we know the type of customers, the age range, and we can tailor our services to these type of customers. Now, if this company had this at the beginning, Cresty Travel Services, if they had this at the beginning, they wouldn't have found themselves in the precarious situation that they currently are in because they've been losing money. Their finances have taken a major hit. And because of that, employees are resigning. But now there is a lifeline because we have been able to come up with a solution to find out what do the customers want and also ask the question to find their preferences. Where would they like to travel to? How would they like to travel? And so on and so forth. Now, in a more ideal situation, what would have done is to make this look very beautiful, make the charts look visually appealing, add some colors, apply the principles of data visualization and so on and so forth, and make this look a lot better. Okay, but we don't have that time. And we have a report that updates itself. The moment you click on refresh and more records come in, I click on refresh again. Now it's 54. All right. More customers, more people have filled the form. We can also tell the customers' preferences are also what? Changing, which is absolutely phenomenal. All right. So we can tell at every given point in time what our customers want, how we can, serve them better, and so on and so forth. Now, what even makes it more exciting is if I click on Hawaii, Hawaii is now number 1, followed by Paris. If I click on Hawaii, I can tell how many people want to go to Hawaii, male, female, and so on and so forth, when they want to travel. Most of the people that want to travel to Hawaii would love to go in June. Okay, in June, and then you have July. That's when most of the people who would like to travel to Hawaii would love to travel. If I click on Paris, those that would love to travel in Paris would love to go in October and also in December. So we're not going to create travel packages that is generic. We will look at this analysis, and this would help us take key decisions. Same with the Bahamas. All right, most of them would love to travel in December, but you can see Hawaii is totally different. It's June and July. That's when people would love to travel to Hawaii, and we can tailor our services to our customers, and this would give us better, revenue back to the company. Okay, is it the work of the business analyst or the data analyst? Is the work of anybody who can use Power BI. The business analyst would do this. The data analyst would also do this. Okay, and we're going to get there as I move into the different career path. And this is the power of Power BI. You can connect to data in any data source. Your data can be on the web. I can go online now. I can go on Google and I just do a search, and I search for, let's say, crypto. Recently, for those of you that invest in crypto has recently, I would say, getting into the bull run. I can search for Yahoo Finance. Okay, I go to Yahoo Finance. I search for Bitcoin, for example. So let's search BTC. Okay, Bitcoin USD. And I want to see historical data on Bitcoin. And of course, this is the most recent, yeah? February 23, February 22, February 21, and so on. I can connect to this data in different ways. One of the easiest ways I can connect to this data, also using Power BI to track and analyze and forecast. Maybe some other time I'll show you guys how to forecast the price of Bitcoin. I invest in Bitcoin, I invest in crypto. So if you invest in crypto, how can you also check when to buy and things like that? You can do that using Power BI. If I click on this URL and I copy this, okay, I can go to my Power BI. I'm going to open a new, just very quickly, okay? Let's open a new report. Okay, and I'll show you how to connect to that data on the web easily. There's so many ways you can do it. I'll show you the easiest way possible. All right, I'll show you the easiest way possible, and that's how fantastic Power BI is. So you are a HR analyst, you are a financial analyst, you are a business analyst, you are a data analyst. You must know how to use Power BI. So if I come here, I'll just go to get data on the web, because Yahoo Finance is on the web. So I click on get data on the web, and it will ask me for the URL. So you see this URL that I copied, ca.yahoofinance. Of course, it would give you Yahoo Finance based on your location. I'll copy this, go back to Power BI, all right, and I'll paste the URL, Control V, and I'll click on OK. Power BI would go to that website, show me all the tables available, and I can select the table I want to connect to. All right, I can select the table I want to connect to. So I'm just going to wait for Power BI to bring it up. So you'd see it loading. Let's wait. And then it's up, okay? So my focus would be on the HTML tables. So if I click on this table 1, you'll see that this is the exact table I have on that website. Let's look at it carefully. I have the dates, open, high, low, close, adjusted, close, and volume. Let's go back to the website. So here you have the date, open, high, low, close, adjusted, close, and what? Volume. And I can connect to these data. I select the HTML table. I click on transform data, just like we did for our form. It takes us to the Power Query editor. If we need to transform, we transform. And we are always connected to that website. So whenever the data is updated on the website, my report is also updated. So I can track the price changes. I can forecast what the price would be, and so on and so forth. So I come in here, I say use first row as headers. I have the dates, open, high, low, and all of that. So I can do my transformation and I load this data into my Power BI. Okay, you can get 5 years historical data if you want. All right, you can get 5 years historical data. For example, the time period, all you need to do is come here. We can select 1 day, 5 day, 3 months, 6 months, year to date, 1 year, 5 years. Okay, from February 21, 2019 to February 22, 2024, and I click on apply. And once I do this, it gives me 5 years historical data. You can connect this to your Power BI, and whenever this particular website is updated, you can always have an updated report. And that's the amazing stuff with Power BI. All right. And that's why it's important that it doesn't matter the career path you find yourself, you must know how to use Power BI. And that takes us to how to get started. All right. So we've seen how we created the form initially. After creating the form, what did we do? We deployed the form. After deploying the form, what did we do? We sent it to customers. We got the data connected to Power BI. We did a little bit of analysis, and now we can see what the customers want. Okay. So let's see, how do you get into any of these career paths? So let's run through this in the next 30 minutes. How do you get into data analytics? Somebody asked the question the other time, oh, is this the role of a business analyst? Is it the role of a data analyst? And so on and so forth. As a business analyst, you find yourself in a career path that gives you one of the highest, I'll say the roles that have the highest demand across the globe. All right, for those in Canada, for those in the UK, across Europe, and also in Africa, a business analyst is somebody every single organization would want to have in their companies, because the business analyst is the person that makes the company more efficient, helps the company achieve its objectives. All right, and you can command absolutely phenomenal salaries. In the UK, over £52,000. In Canada, over 74,000 Canadian dollars. In the US, over 85,000 US dollars. As a data analyst, one of the roles I would say in the next 5 to 10 years is always going to grow, according to the World Economic Forum Future of Jobs reports. So this is a career path anybody would want to get into. You can get absolutely phenomenal salaries, over £40,000 per annum on the average. In Canada, over 64,000 Canadian dollars. In the US, over 72,000 US dollars. And as a financial analyst, you find yourself in a unique career path that is not very common, where you can apply to roles as a commercial analyst. You can apply to roles as a financial planning and analysis professional, FP&A, which is a new career path a lot of people are sleeping on currently. They don't know that is a career path that you can also apply to and get as a financial analyst. And of course, as a HR analyst, your role is to ensure that HR policies and strategies are driven from the people perspective. And you also command phenomenal salaries as well. So as a business analyst, what is your role in the company? What's your objective? You are that professional that analyzes the business. So you saw the business analyst was the person that recommended that let's create the survey instrument and let's find out what the customers want. What is their preference? Okay, why? Because the business analyst is that person that always analyzes the business, analyzes the processes, analyzes the stakeholders, and comes up with solutions. All right? Every business has 3 components: the people, the processes, and the technology. All right. Now, the business analyst focuses on the processes. That's the major focus of the business analyst. So the business analyst wants to make things more efficient. If something takes 3 days, 4 days, 5 days to get completed, how can I reduce it to a few hours or a few minutes? So how do we become more efficient as a company? Now, in becoming more efficient, by taking a process that takes 5 days, cutting it down to just 24 hours or less. For you to do this, you must implement some level of automation. There must be an application, there must be a software, there must be something that you have to deploy to make the process more efficient. Now, in building that software or building the application that would enable efficiency, the business analyst is the one that would manage the project. Okay, so project management. So as a business analyst, your role cuts across multiple areas. You're going to look at a process, analyze the process, look for inefficiencies in that process, and then come up with recommendations to make the process better. In coming up with the recommendations to make the process better, you need to deploy some automation. You need to deploy some level of digitalization to make a manual process more efficient. Now, in digitalizing or automating the process, you need to manage that project. Whoever is going to build that application, you as the business analyst, you understand the business. You know what the business wants because you have sat down with them, you have had meetings with them, and you understand what they want. You take all the requirements that the business needs and you communicate those requirements to the technology team that will be building those applications and software so that the right type of application that is fit for purpose is developed eventually. And that's the role of the business analyst. For you to do all of this that I've just mentioned, you need to have key skills. First of all, you need to have your data analytics skills, all right? Because as a business analyst of today, the modern business analyst must understand Excel, Power BI, and SQL. You saw what I did using Power BI. A business analyst of today must know how to do that using Power BI. So when the person asked me the question the other time, yes, it's also part of the responsibilities of the business analysts. Now, in most organizations, they would expect the data analyst to have that responsibility. However, if you are applying to a business analyst role and you have data analytics skills and you're competing with other business analysts, you will have an advantage over them. All right. So you have Excel, Power BI, and SQL. It's something you would not find everywhere. But we at Analytics, we've seen what the market demands. We've seen what is trending today. And we've seen that organizations are starting to have a preference for business analysts that have some level of data analytics understanding. And then you move into process mapping. Like I said earlier, your focus would be to analyze processes, look at the process from the start to the finish, the current process, the as-is process. You map out the process using tools like Lucid Charts, Draw.io, and you are able to see where there are inefficiencies, and you can proffer solutions to ensure that those inefficiencies are taken out of the way and the process is more efficient. You'd learn project initiation planning because you're going to manage projects, Agile and Scrum for projects, the software development lifecycle, which is simply you understanding that you will manage software development projects, application development projects. So you must know how to plan the planning process for a software, the design process, the building process, the testing process, the deployment process, and so on and so forth. You must understand that because you will have to manage those type of projects. Requirement fundamentals, gathering requirements from the business, elicitation, asking the right type of questions to get information from the different stakeholders, stakeholder analysis and engagement. When you're a business analyst, you will communicate with the business. You'd have workshops, you'd have meetings where you'd ask questions and get requirements. You also need to interact with stakeholders to get the right type of solutions that you will need to provide. And of course, ChatGPT for business analysis. You can't run away from ChatGPT today in the modern world of technology. AI is everything. So you'd also learn ChatGPT. How long does it take for you to transition to business analysis? 4 months. You'd learn for 2 months in class in a project-based environment, and you'd work as an intern with us for 2 months. During your internship, you are working on a real-world project where you'll be managing a web development project. So you'd work for a company that needs to design and build a software to help them solve a problem. You as the business analyst would come up with a solution, and you'd work with a scrum master, you'd work with a software developer to come up with the software that needs to be deployed in that company to solve the problem. The advantage for you is that you would have garnered the skills, you would have been able to experience exactly what you'd be doing in the real world as a business analyst. So on day one, you can do the job as a business analyst. Your classes happen on Saturdays and Sundays. You have timings that fit your time zone. So for those in the UK, in Europe, across Africa, you have your class from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. West African time. And for those in Canada, in the US, you have your classes from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. All right. So if you're in, for example, it's 9:42 my time. I don't expect somebody in Nigeria, somebody in the UK to be in a class where we have a variation in time zone that would not fit into your own schedule. All right. And you have another live class on Sunday. In the afternoon, if you're in the UK, you are in Europe, Nigeria, somewhere around Africa, 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. West African time. And in the evening, for those in the UK, for those in the US, I beg your pardon, in Canada, 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. All right? That's for the business analyst. For the data analyst, your focus is everything data. Your focus is to help an organization answer 2 key questions, which is descriptive analytics, what happened? Every organization gathers data, all right? What happened and why did it happen? This is your role in a company. Now, imagine that we are crypto investors, okay? We are crypto investors. We invest in crypto. That's the company we run. We want to know, in the last 5 years, what happened with crypto, the crypto exchange, what happened with the prices and so on in the last 5 years. Every company would want to know what happened, historical data, what happened last month, what was our revenue in January, what was our revenue in 2023, how many customers did we get, how many customers did we lose, all right? Once you know what happened, you can now start to find out why it happened. So when we had an increase in revenue, why did we have an increase? Because of course, if you know why you had an increase, you can double down on that and even get more revenue deploying the same strategy. If you had a decline, why was there a decline? All right. So the data analyst will take data generated by the company, analyze the data, and give recommendations to the company on what to do based on what happened and why it happened. And for you to do this, being the data person in the company, you must understand how to use the data analytic tools to answer those 2 key questions. So you learn problem solving. You'd learn how to use Excel for analytics, summarizing your data using the pivot tables, the pivot charts, and so on and so forth. You'd learn SQL, structured query language, which is a language for databases. All right, the language for databases. Organizations would store their data in a database. How do you interact with that database? You learn Power BI. What we did with Power BI today is just, I would say, is scratching the surface, a tip of the iceberg. All right, so you will understand how to use Power BI to do amazing stuff. You'd learn how to use Tableau for data analytics and business intelligence. You'd learn data storytelling. So once you've done all your analysis, like what we did with Power BI today, which I would say was just pretty straightforward and basic, you must have a way to tell the story to somebody who does not have the same technical competence as you, all right? And that's where data storytelling comes in, because you need to tell the story in a way that would enable the key stakeholders take a decision. You'd learn ChatGPT for analytics, and you'd also learn Microsoft Fabric. Now, Microsoft Fabric is a new platform launched by Microsoft that contains different analytics materials. So you can create, I can collaborate using Power BI with anybody across the globe, as long as we work in the same organization. I can create a data warehouse in Fabric. I would use that data warehouse to do some analysis using Power BI, and Bridget can use that same data in the data warehouse to write SQL queries. And that's what Fabric does for you. It gives you the opportunity to have an all-in-one platform for your analytics. How long does it take you to learn data analytics? 4 months. 3 months project-based classes, 1 month internship. So the internship is where you're working on projects, collaborating with other professionals, to solve a common problem. So you'd work with a data engineer, you'd work with a data scientist to solve problems in this company. Now, the beauty of the way you learn in the data analytics class is you don't have classes every Saturday and Sundays. Your live classes are on Saturdays. So on Saturday, you have a trainer, you have a facilitator like myself that would walk you through concepts. Please just give me 1 minute. I need to grab a cup of water. Yeah, sorry about that. So your live classes are on Saturdays, meaning that you have a facilitator like myself that will work with you. You work on projects together on Saturdays. Now, the same way you have classes that fit your time zone, depending on where you are. If you're in the UK, if you're in Africa, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. West African time. If you are in the US, you are in Canada, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Now, on Sundays, you have something we call the Watch Me Do It videos, which is self-paced. You don't need to be in a live class. All you need to do is you'll receive bite-sized videos that you can watch at your own convenience on Sundays. And the following Saturday, you get to work on a project in a live class. So it is a flexible, blended learning approach for you. All right. And that's the way the data analytics program runs. Now, for the HR analysts, you are a data analyst that focuses on what? People-related data. So your focus is not going to be on the travel data of how the company wants to increase its revenue. Your focus is not going to be on the price of Bitcoin in the last 5 years. Your focus is on what? People. The people data. all right? How many people have left the company? How many people have joined the company? What's the absenteeism in the organization? What's been the performance of people within the organization and in, correlation to the performance of the company? So you are a data analyst that focuses on what? The people-related data. So that every HR policy, every strategy deployed is done from a data-driven perspective. And that's who the HR analyst is. And for you as the HR analyst, you find yourself in a unique career path that gives you so many advantages. So you're going to learn all the data analytics skills, just like the data analyst, problem solving, Excel, Power BI, SQL, and then you'd learn HR and performance evaluation, HR metrics and life cycle. We're going to do talent sourcing analysis, attrition analysis, employee engagement analysis, and so on and so forth. You do HR analysis and dashboarding, create dashboards to showcase what is going on in the company at a glance, everybody can see, and so on and so forth. You'd learn how to automate your reports because your reports will be weekly, would be monthly, and so on, bi-weekly. So you need to automate it so that you're not doing it every single month, every single week, every single, 2 weeks, and so on. You would also learn to build your case and create action, which is simply where, as a HR professional, perhaps it's something you're already doing, you're in a HR function, but you want to add analytics to your HR. How do you shine within the organization? Would show you how to do that. And of course, ChatGPT for analytics. And how long? Similar to the data analytics program, 4 months, 3 months project-based classes, and 1 month internship. Similar times as well with the data analytics. Saturdays are your live classes. Different times for different time zones. And on Sundays, you have your self-paced watch me do it videos. So the data analyst, the data scientist, the data engineers, and the HR analyst would work together during the internship. So when you're asked during interviews, do you have cross-functional experience working in a diverse team? You can say yes. I have worked with data engineers, I have worked with data analysts, I've worked with data scientists, and so on and so forth. And that's the internship for you. It gives you that opportunity to collaborate and work on real-world projects that you can add to your portfolio that showcases to potential employers that you have the skill to get the job done. And finally, we have the financial analytics. I always love to explain this way. The financial analytics is the combination of 3 career paths. You're going to learn data analytics, all right? You're going to learn investment banking, please pardon my handwriting, and corporate finance. So as a financial analyst, you are simply a professional that helps the company analyzes its financial data to help to analyze financial trends, forecast the financial performance into the future, and also help the company take investment decisions based on how the company is performing and the viability of that particular investment. So as a financial analyst, you have key set of skills and you don't need any experience to be in any of the programs, from data analytics to business analysis to HR to financial analytics. You don't need any prerequisites. You don't need any experience to get started. You're going to learn the data analytics skills from problem solving to Excel to Power BI to SQL. And then you learn accounting fundamentals. You're going to learn accounting from scratch, understand the fundamentals. You go to financial analysis, how to analyze the financial statements, different ratios to know the performance of the company, financial modeling. You're going to build a model from scratch for a company that exists, for a startup, and so on and so forth. You're going to look at the base case, the best case, the worst case, and so on and so forth. You'd and you do valuation, sensitivity, and scenario analysis. And of course, you can't get into analytics today without ChatGPT for analytics. You need to know prompt engineering. What are the right type of prompts to get certain type of results, which makes life a lot easier for you today. How long does it take? Just like the data analytics, HR analytics, 4 months, 3 months project-based classes, 1 month internship. All right. Live classes on Saturdays, and on Sundays, you have your Watch Me Do It self-paced videos. And these are the 4 career paths. Now, a lot of people have come to me, they struggle. They've been trying to get jobs as data analysts, as business analysts, but they can't. Why? 2 reasons. Number one, a lot of them, especially for the business analysis guys, they have some certification, 1 or 2 certifications here and there. But the moment you engage them to find out the depths of the skills that they have, you find out that all they've done is to read and pass an exam. But they don't have the skills to get the job done when they find themselves on the job on the first day as a business analyst. All right. So, which is what we always frown against. It's always competence over what? Credentials. The focus for you is on getting the skills. And these are some of the things we've seen hindering people from getting the job. They don't have the skills to do the job. All right. And that's number one. Number two, you have a lot of people that don't know how to sell themselves. So they have the skills, but the skills will not get you the job. I always tell you this, and that's simply because there are 1,000,001 people with the same set of skills that you have. So what makes you different? That's the question you need to ask yourself. And I'll walk you through what you need to do to ensure that you stand out and you are different from the pack. You are different from the competition, and you are that person that gets recognized to get the job. All right. All the programs come with the internship, and this is so that you can gain the type of experience that you need to show those recruiters that you've done it and you've done it before, and you can do it when you get the job with them. Okay. Again, so many fantastic success stories that we have, some of them for data analytics. We have Biola, who joined our data analytics, and today he works with one of the largest financial companies in the UK. We have Zainab. Zainab got a job last month. Zainab is in Nigeria. She got a job as a data manager working with a tech-related company in Nigeria. You have Bernard. Bernard was able to secure a scholarship and also get a job as a data analyst in Canada with his professor in his university. So we wrote a reference for Bernard, and he was able to secure the scholarship. He joined our data analytics program. I was also able to land the job as a data analyst in Canada with his professor. You have Kehinde. Kehinde currently works with the NHS as an R&D specialist. R&D specialist data analyst is a fully sponsored job. Come with full visa sponsorship. She joined us in April 2023, completed her program in July, and got the job in October 2023. We wrote a reference for her. She joined our data analytics program, and today she's able to secure full visa sponsorship in the UK, completing the data analytics program with us. And there's so many of them. You have Toyin. A lot of you have heard of Toyin's story. You've heard of Tosin, who is a fraud analyst in the UK. Toyin works with the NHS as well as a benefits analyst, also on full visa sponsorship. Toyin was able to get a job just 1 month after training with us. And the reason why is very simple, because people ask the question, oh, how do you get a job 1 month into the program? 1 month into the program, you are done with your Excel class. You are done with your CV review, your LinkedIn, so you start to apply to jobs. All right. We tell you to go ahead and start to apply to jobs. Toyin had the opportunity to interview, and we worked with her, prepared her for the interview, and she got the job, full visa sponsorship. You have Olugbemi, who is currently a solutions analyst with one of the largest insurance companies here in Edmonton. Canada. And of course, Olugbemi is a fantastic, fantastic professional. He joined us, completed the program, landed his first job as a business data analyst with the Law Depot in Canada. And then recently in November, he moved into the solutions analyst role, currently on 6 figures in Canada. You have Benga also doing amazing stuff as a business data analyst in Poland. For 2 years, Benga couldn't get a job. He joined our program and he was able to land his first job as a business data analyst in Poland. All right. And that's just to share some of the participants in data analytics. Financial analytics, you have Chika, who is in the UK, got a job as a financial analyst. You have Solomon, who is an engineering graduate, got a job with an oil and gas company. You have Akintayo, who got a job as a CFO after completing our financial analytics training. His interview was with Nene, who is our financial analytics lead, prepared him for his interview. And today, he currently works as a CFO in a leading organization in Nigeria. You have Victor. Victor was able to get a job as a financial analyst at Nicole Finance Company. You have Bumi, who got a job as a market data analyst. You have Afolabi, who works as a financial analyst after completing our program. So many fantastic, fantastic professionals. And I would love you to listen to one or two of them, all right, before we wrap up our session today. Business analysis, you have Abigail, who used to work as a care worker in Canada, but today she works with the government of Alberta as a business analyst. You have Efe. Efe joined our business analysis program in April last year, completed in July. She was able to get a job in October 2023. You have Rafiat, who is also on full visa sponsorship with the NHS. Now, what we've been able to do successfully, and this is where you'd see a lot of our business analysts getting jobs with the NHS, and that's simply because the NHS in the UK would give you the visa sponsorship, which is what everybody wants. So the interview prep and so on, as long as you have an interview with the NHS, is as good as done. You are going to get that job because we have so much experience working with the NHS interview process. We know the type of case studies they're going to ask you and so on and so forth. All right. Tammy was a lawyer. Tammy is currently a business analyst after joining our business analysis program. But I want you to listen to Rafiat very quickly. Yeah, I'm just going to click on this link. I want you to listen to Rafiat. And again, all these materials are available on YouTube. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'll ensure that I'll share my audio so you can hear Rafiat's story a lot better. All right. So sit back, relax, and listen to Rafiat.
Good day. My name is Ramat, and if you're stumbling on this, trust me, you've landed in the right place because I'm going to be briefly sharing my experience with you about my journey with Analytics and how I was able to get a job within 3 months of joining the cohort. I joined them and enrolled for the course. Analytics as well-seasoned facilitators who are experts in the field. Imagine not having any experience beforehand as a business analyst and finishing with Analytics as a pro. Personally, I also got interview preparation sessions that helped me prepare well for my interviews, and this enabled me ace my interview. So if you're looking to transition or you're having any doubt, trust me, you shouldn't, because Analytics is really amazing and you should consider enrolling in them.
All right. So that's I keep on mixing up her name with Rafiat. Her name is Ramat. Ramat currently works with the NHS in the UK. Absolutely phenomenal professional. You have Mojishola, who got a job last year, December, about 2 months ago. She got a job as a business analyst. After trying for so long, Mojishola came to me when she was done with the program and said, "Oh, Adeza, I'm still struggling to get a job." And all we needed to do was, look, Mojishola, you need to apply to more jobs, all right? Because it's all about the volume. So the moment I mentored her, she worked on more jobs, applying to more jobs. She was able to finally get an offer. And she was so appreciative because of the detailed level of work that we did. with Mojisola. And this is Mojisola saying, I want to say a big thank you for everything. I sincerely appreciate your help. God bless you immensely. All right. Now, this is Michael. Michael's story is also very interesting. Michael was out of work since February 2023. All right. He came to us in July 2023. And all I needed to do was look at his CV, and I saw where his problems lied. Okay. So I told him, look, join the program, get into the business analysis program. One of the gaps I see is you don't know Excel, you don't know Power BI, you don't know SQL. Even though you're a business analyst, you should have those skills. Michael joined the program. He learned all those skills, and he was able to get a job, not just as a business analyst, but as a business data analyst. So the Excel, Power BI, and SQL was what landed him this job. He currently works with U Energy in the UK, which is an energy-related company in the UK, after completing the business analysis program. And this is Michael, although I call him Olamide, who said what? Hi, Adeza, how are you doing? I got the business data analyst role. Thanks for your support for this past month. I really, really appreciate. You can imagine not having a job for over 6 months before coming to us. And in less than 4 or 5 months after completing, going through the program, less than a month after, he was able to secure the job in November, which was absolutely phenomenal. The HR analytics, we have Victor. Victor used to work with Hugo, Chicago, Illinois. He worked remotely for them as a people operations analyst, worked for them in the US. Currently, he's a senior HR business partner with Tangerine Africa. Fantastic professional. We have Maureen, who works in Canada with Telos. For those of you in Canada, you know Telos, one of the largest telecommunications company. She works with them as a HR data analyst after completing our HR analytics program. Sonia works with British American Tobacco in the UK as a HR analyst after completing the HR analytics program. You have Olajide, who works with Stanbic IBTC as a HR analyst, and so many other professionals. All right. I want you to listen to the amazing stories. It's always success, success all the way. Success all the way from all these professionals. Now, the question is, how have we been able to, create a community that fosters success across the different programs that we offer? All right. Number one is simple. Over 2,000 people across the last 4 years, we've had a track record of helping them to transition into the tech ecosystem across the globe, in the UK, in the US, in Canada, across Europe, in Africa, and so on and so forth. And one of the reasons why is simply because of the quality and the standard of our facilitators and the depth and comprehension of our curriculum. All right. We have the best facilitators, the most up-to-date curriculum. And that's why you'd see a business analysis curriculum that has Excel, Power BI, and SQL, which is data analytics related. You'd see ChatGPT for analytics. And this is what gives you the edge eventually. Your facilitators are top-notch professionals from the biggest and the best organizations across the globe. You have a blended learning approach. You don't have to be in class every single day. You don't have to be in class every single weekend. You can learn at your own convenience. You have the Watch Me Do It videos that helps the slow learners, most especially, where at your own convenience, you can watch those videos, understand them before you get into class subsequently. And finally, this is where we've been able to crack the code of helping people to transition. The tailored sessions that helps you land the job. Like I said earlier, when you learn all the technical skills, that is a given. Every company expects that you have those technical skills. But what sets you apart are specific skills that helps you position yourself ahead of the competition. And that's where we position you and ensure that you get into the door. And once you're able to get one foot into the door, you eventually start to get those jobs. And this is what has made us so successful. And the first thing we do with you is your CV. We also review your LinkedIn, ensure you have a profile that attracts the best companies. You must have a CV that gets you into the door. If you don't get phone calls, if you don't get emails, if you don't get in-mails from LinkedIn, inviting you for interviews, then you know that there is something wrong. All right. We work with you on your Upwork optimization. If you don't have an Upwork profile, we show you how to create one. If you have one, we help you optimize so that you can apply and get remote jobs, work as a freelancer, and so on and so forth. Navigating the job market is where we show you where to apply to jobs, how to apply to jobs, what not to do, and the nuances based on your own specific region. If you are in Canada, one of the shortcomings, I would say, of a lot of people, one of the misconceptions that stop people from applying to jobs is a myth. And that myth is called what? Canadian work experience. All right? People believe that Canadian work experience is what they need to get a job in tech, but this is absolutely garbage. It doesn't exist. All right. We've had participants 2 months in Canada, they got a job. Olugbemi that I showcased earlier, that works as a solutions analyst, Olugbemi got his job 3-4 months after he moved into Canada, 3 months after moving into Canada as a permanent resident. And we've had so many people across different areas. Maureen also working with TELUS, she got a job a few months, when she moved into Canada. And nobody needed any Canadian work experience. And this is one of the major misconceptions that people have. And we try to break this the moment you join us at Analytics, because everything is in the mind. The moment you believe that there's going to be that obstacle, the obstacle definitely would exist. So navigating the job market sessions is where we tell you exactly what to do. Oh, you are in Canada. This is what you need to do to get the job and ensure that you get the best possible opportunities within the space. You also have how to prepare for interviews. So you have an interview, you must get the best possible outcome from that interview. And that's where we work with you to prepare you for interviews. And of course, your recommendation and references. When you get the job, those recruiters would want to know everybody from Olugbemi, who is in Canada, to Ramat, who is in the UK. We wrote the reference for them to eventually land the job and keep that job, because recruiters would want to know who can vouch for you. All right. The level 2 is where you have your weekly mentorship sessions. Every week, Thursday evenings, myself, the co-founder, other industry experts, we work with you to show you what exactly you need to do, answer your key questions that you would have as newbies transitioning into tech. And of course, on the job support, when you get a job and you need support from us, we are there for you to ensure that we provide all the necessary support. And the very final offer, we started offering this from January this year, which is our promise to you. Guaranteed interview 1 month after training with us. So 1 month after training with us, you will get an interview, and that's our promise to you. And we are confident in this promise because all the things we do, from your CV to your LinkedIn, preparing you for the interview process, will land you the job, land you the interview 1 month after you are done with the program. Now, in addition to your CV review sessions and your LinkedIn optimization, we also have the partnerships with agencies in the UK and in Canada. And these partnerships with recruitment agencies would help to bring the jobs a bit closer to you so that you get opportunities within the space to interview for different areas depending on your chosen career path. We also have the body mentorship, where we bring in alumni that have done the same things that you are trying to do. We bring them back to help prepare you for the eventualities of the future, when you transition, when you were trying to transition, what type of questions were you asked? So you have somebody you can easily relate to because they have just done what you're trying to do as well. Our next cohort starts on the 2nd of March. And a lot of people have been sending me questions to the chat. Adeza, what does it take? I can't wait to join, but what does it take to be a part of the program? We have an amazing discount available. As at this time last week, we had the discount available for 20 people, but the discount is only available for the first 10 people to register and be a part of the program. So the discounted slots are closing, and they're closing very fast. The first 20 was gone. We extended it again, but now it's just for the first 10 people. And for those who would want to be a part of the data analytics or the business analysis, HR analytics, or the financial analytics, if you're paying in dollars, you have an amazing discount. So instead of paying $750, you get to pay just $600, and you can make the payments in 2 installments. So the moment you take advantage of the discount, you also can make your payment in 2 installments to be a part of the program starting on the 2nd of March, 2024. $450 to get you into the class, and then $150 1 month after the program must have commenced. And if you're paying in pounds, instead of paying the full amount of £625, you get a whopping £125 discount and get to pay just £500, $375 to get into class, and $125 1 month after the program commences. Now, the moment you get to pay to be a part of the program, what happens? You receive a welcome kit. The welcome kit contains all the materials you need for the program. For example, you register for data analytics. You need Excel, you need Power BI, you need SQL. All the links to download the applications will be made available to you. You have your lesson plan and every other material that you need. You get that in your welcome kit, and you get your journey into tech started on the 2nd of March, 2024. 1 month into the program, you get to pay the balance of £125. All right. And I'm going to show you how to pay for those of you who would be in this cohort starting in March. And all you have to do is click on this link to take you to the enrollment center. All right. And once you click on the link, it takes you to the enrollment center. And here you have access to the brochures. You can download, get access to all the program brochures. If I click on this, for example, I get access. I can look at the business analysis brochure, see the nitty-gritty of all the things I'll be learning as a business analyst with Tenalytics. All right. And I'm just going to walk you through that very quickly. So you'd see the brochure, the curriculum, what you're going to learn. Of course, you first of all start with the data analytics skills, Excel, Power BI, SQL, and ChatGPT. You move into project initiation planning, Agile Essentials, the SDLC, requirement fundamentals, and so on, business analysis toolkit, how to come up with a business case, Agile online project collaboration, stakeholder analysis, and so on and so forth. And just to have a glimpse of who your facilitators would be, you will be trained by the best in the business, the best professionals available out there. I'll be one of your facilitators. You have Linda. Linda has over a decade experience working for some of the biggest organizations across the globe. She's an expert in requirements fundamentals, in process mapping, and so on and so forth. You'd also work with Oluwaseun. Oluwaseun is a product reliability engineer in the UK working with Visa. All right. So Oluwaseun will also be one of your facilitators working with you to help you transition. You also have Olabisi. Olabisi is a project manager. She's a business analyst and also a scrum master with Access Bank. Should also be one of your facilitators. So you are working with the best in the business, and the best of the best across helping you get your journey into tech started. All right. Now, how do you make payments? You want to register for the business analysis. All you have to do is go to where you have the business analysis, click on it, and it takes you to the enrollment center. All right. Now, the full amount is £500. Okay. But you want to get into class, you want to secure your discount. All you have to do is, I want to secure my discounts because during the masterclass, Adeza said the first payment is $375, but I don't have $375 today. And if I wait, I will lose the opportunity to be part of the first 10 to join the program from this particular masterclass. I have £300 today. I'm going to secure my discount. So rather than having 500, you can take out what you have in there, type in 300, and you can make a payment to secure your discounted slots. Now, once you enter the amount you want to pay and you click on proceed, you enter your name, your full name, enter your email, all right? Enter your phone number, and you can pay with card, all right? So you can enter your credit card, your debit card, and once you make payment, you receive an automated receipt into your email. That receipt and the email would also contain a link for you to fill to get all your details, all right? So you're going to see a link that takes you into a form. All right, so this always comes up. I'm just going to open this in a different browser. All right, so it's going to take you into where you have to fill a form. You're going to get this after you've made payment automatically into your email, and then you fill the form for the March cohort. All right, and once you have this, you submit the form. We receive and confirm your payments. You receive a welcome kit from us. All right, and this is how you get to make payments to be a part of the program. The same thing you want to register for the data analytics. You click on that, it takes you to where to make payments. And all you have to do is enter the amount you want to pay to secure your discounts to be a part of the program. The minimum you can pay to secure your discount is £250, depending on the currency. And of course, if you're in Canada, if you are in Nigeria, if you are in Ghana, you would see the amount in dollars, you'd see the amount in Canadian dollars, and in the currency that fits your specific location. And that's how you make payment to be a part of our program. All right. Remember, the discounts would not be on forever. It's just for the very first 10 people that would register from the set of masterclasses we will be having this week. And once we get the 10, the registration is closed for the rest of the cohort. All right. I'm going to take questions in the chat. And for those of you that have questions, please feel free to ask your questions. You can use the raised hand icon. I'll be very happy to answer your question. Asen and Nema is asking, as a financial analyst, how do I fit in as a solution analyst? As a solutions analyst, it's a fancy name for a data analyst. All right. So organizations would have different names. For example, when I used to work as a data analyst, my title was not data analyst. It was MIS analyst, management information analyst. You'd see the business intelligence analyst. You'd see the sales analyst, solution analyst. All right. Now, as a financial analyst, you have data analytics skills. You have Excel, you have problem solving, you have Power BI, you have SQL. And these are data analytics skills that can help you fit into a role as a solutions analyst. All right. Now, a solutions analyst in one company can have a different set of responsibilities in another company, because you are there to provide solutions. That's simply what the role entails. So analyze the data and tell us what to do and provide answers to the questions that we have. Do we need to have a degree? Absolutely not. You don't need to have a degree or any certificate. I talked about that earlier, Lawal. It is always competence over credentials. Now, for some organizations, especially in Africa, and even in the major economies, they'll need you to have a minimum of a higher degree, higher education, not necessarily a degree. You have a diploma, you have a postgraduate diploma, or so on and so forth, might be needed, all right, but not necessarily for you to have a specific type of degree to get the job. Temitope is saying, I'm currently studying HR in Ontario, finishing in April. Will there be another cohort in April? The discount would not be available in April, Temitope. Now, what I'll advise you to do is February, March, April. All right. Perhaps you want to start after you're done with your master's, but I always advise people to start and complete it as at the same time you are completing your master's. Because what I've seen across different regions, most especially in the UK, the master's program does not give you the skills. I can say that categorically for the UK universities because I'm very familiar with them. Not very familiar with the universities in Canada, so I can't say that categorically. But most of the time, you don't get the skills you need to get the job. What recruiters want you to have to help them solve problems on day one, you don't get that from the university. Now, if you wait till April before you start, it means that you'd have completed in April and then you would have another 4 months of learning, which would mean you'd wrap up your program sometime around August, September, thereabout. So you are inching towards the end of the year. My advice is, if you can start and it would not affect your studies and so on, start as soon as you can, all right? So that you are able to reduce the study time and you're also able to start to apply to jobs a lot earlier, all right? What you can do if, for example, you don't have the time, you're going to be very busy with coursework and your dissertation, my advice is you can secure the discount today. All right, you have a minimum fee you can pay, like I showed earlier. Secure the discount by making the minimum amount. Okay, pay the minimum amount. Let's take, for example, this is $250. Pay the minimum amount, secure the discount, and defer your program to start in April. There's going to be a new cohort starting in April, but the discounts is going to be available just for the March cohort. So you can take advantage of the March discount ahead of April and defer your program to start in April or even May, depending on what you want. Now, how do you defer? When you're filling the form, after you have made payments and you receive the link into your email, all you need to do while you are filling all the details, you click on next, enter all the details, click on next. I'll show you where you select, all right? You enter all the details, click on next, okay? Now, let me just talk about this a little bit. Now, for some of you who would be thinking, okay, how do I join? Which of the programs do I join? Do I join data analytics? Do I join business analysis or financial analytics? I'm not sure. You want to speak with a professional, all right? When you have secured your discounts, okay, you've made the payment, secured the discounted slot, and you are filling the form. When you get to this place where you're asked the program you have registered for, rather than selecting a specific program, just select, I need to speak with a professional. And we're going to schedule a session with you to walk you through, listen to you, your years of experience, what you've been doing in the past few years, what your own preference is, and then we work with you to help you select a particular program. Now, for somebody like Temitope, all you need to do when you get to this particular stage, when filling the form, when do you intend to start? So you don't want to start on the 2nd of March because you're currently doing your master's or postgraduate program. All you need to do, okay, whoops. Sorry, that took me back a bit. I'm just going to go forward once more to show you what you need to do, Temitope. All right. So what you need to do, Temitope, is to simply select 6th of April. That's when the April cohort would start. But guess what? You've paid, you've secured the discounts, but then you start on the 6th of April, 2024. And that's something a whole lot of people do to ensure that they take advantage of the discounts. All right. Somebody was asking, what if I'm paying in Naira? All you have to do is click on the link and you would see the fees based on your region. All right, you'd see the fees based on your region. I saw that question come up a few seconds ago. All right, so Temitope, I think I've answered your question. It's the same with Canada. So you go to the UK, you spend thousands, tens of thousands of pounds, millions of naira, you learn nothing, absolutely nothing. It's ridiculous. All right. And most of the things you learn, what would give you the skills you get to eventually get a job, it's going to cost you less than $600, just like a Analytics program. And this is what gets you the job eventually. And that's what we always tell people. Look, you do your master's concurrently with the program that gives you the skills to get a job at the end of the day. Bridget is asking, can age be a barrier? Not in the major economies. In Africa, maybe, all right? But in the UK, in Canada, in the US, across Europe, nobody will discriminate against you because of your age. You have the skills, you meet the requirements, you will get the job irrespective of your age. All right? Okay, so that was Silk Maximus. I think I answered that question. All right, I think I answered the question. Yeah, it's terrible. Bridget's also alluding to that fact, all right? So what I'll do very quickly, and I'll still look out for questions in the chat. I'll show you the platform in just just 6th of January. I don't know that. And the next cohort starts on the 2nd of March. Now, you want to join the March cohort. Let's see what people have been doing. People that joined the January cohort. Priscilla, if you are still there, please let me know if my internet is still top notch. I just got a notification just to be sure that I'm good to go.
Yes, I can hear you. You're good to go.
Brilliant. Fantastic. All right, so let's go to the business analysis for January. But let's check HR Analytics, so one of the programs, okay? And you can see this, you have Business Analysis EU, Business Analysis NA. So NA is North America, for Canada, for US, EU, Europe, Africa, similar time zones, and so on, all right? So let's go to the NA and let's see what they've done, all right? Now, one of the very first things you'd see when you come into class, and this shows you that you are in a class that is focused on getting the job, not you just learning theories and so on. It is very practical and also focused on you getting the job. You have something we call the consistency project. So the moment you join, you have a consistency project that you have to follow, okay, where you document your experience every single day. Okay, you learn something new, you document it on LinkedIn or your preferred social media platform. We always recommend LinkedIn anyways. You have your job application tracker, and this is where you track the jobs you've been applying to, okay? Because you need to keep track to be sure that you are on the right track and you're applying to just as many jobs as you should apply to. Okay, you have the interview preparation session. So you have an interview. All you need to do is come in here, go to book an interview. You have two professionals. Whoops. Sorry about that. I think I mistakenly clicked on something. Okay, so you have two professionals that would work with you to prepare you for interviews. You don't need to meet with anybody. Just click on the link. It takes you to a Calendly. You enter your preferred dates, enter your preferred time, and then you are able to secure your interview space. All right. So once you do that, you have somebody join you to prepare you for your interview. Now, you also have a template you're going to use for your CV. This has been prepared, best standard for you to use to start to apply to jobs. And you also have the job site links where to apply. All right. This is exclusive only for people that have registered and are a part of Tenalytics. So you have links with different websites to apply to certain type of jobs across different regions. You're going to create a portfolio. Like I said, you must have a portfolio for your Excel projects, Power BI projects, SQL projects, and so on and so forth. And of course, I'll just go right to the bottom and you'd see how you learn. Okay, you learn in a project-based environment. Your very first class on Excel, you have your materials, and I'll just show you the project you're going to work on. All right, the project you'd work on is a project for a company called Glow Gadgets. Glow Gadgets is an eco-friendly organization that produces eco-friendly electronics. All right, and you're going to help them carry out some analysis using Excel to help them understand the type of customers that they have, and also calculating certain aspects of the business with relation to their employees. They're going to do this with Excel. Okay. Now, if you miss this class, let's assume somebody like Temitope has joined, but on a Saturday, she has 1 or 2 events and she's going to miss class on Saturday. The recording is there. All you have to do is come back to the platform and you have access to the class recording. So you don't miss anything. All right. You have access to the recording. Once you watch the recording, everything that was done in class, you are able to go through them, practice it yourself. And if you don't understand something, you have a support system in your WhatsApp group, your data coordinators, your data coaches to walk you through. All right. Your second Excel class, you have another project where you'd work for a company called Plume Technologies. Okay. Now, when we say case study based, this is exactly what it means. Now, all these case studies are real life case studies I have worked on over the last, decade of my career. The co-founder and other professionals have worked on. So these are real life experience. You also get to work on them. Of course, we've changed the names of the companies and a part of the data so you cannot directly relate any aspect to any company, but you're also working on the same type of projects that we have worked on. And this is where you start to gain experience. All right. One other thing as a business analyst, as a data analyst, as a HR financial analyst is presentation. You must know how to present. So for those of you that are introverted, you don't like to speak, you don't like to present, you will be forced to do that. All right. We would encourage you. You would be a part of a group, you'd work together, and you'd have presentations on case studies you would have worked on together. All right. Because you can't be a business analyst, you can't be a HR analyst, and you can't communicate. You can't present, and these are the things would help you learn and help you do during the program. You have your mentorship sessions, and for every single session, like I said, they're all recorded, just like this masterclass is recorded and will be made available to you at the end of the session today. Okay. One last thing I'll talk about before I move out of this place is the drop-in sessions. So you miss a class and you've watched the class recording and there's some things you really did not get. you have tried to get it, to do it, you really couldn't get it. You've asked questions, somebody has answered you on WhatsApp, but you still can't get it. A drop-in session would be organized every week where you will join that drop-in session and somebody will join you to help you address those issues that you have so that you don't take that same problem into the next class. All right. So for those that started in January, they've completed their Excel, they've moved into Power BI, they've completed their Power BI, they've moved into SQL, they've completed their SQL, they've moved into their first business analysis class, Introduction to Business Analysis, project initiation, using AI, utilizing AI for job application, which is a mentorship session. They've started their CV review. They've learned how to create business cases, software development life cycles, and gap analysis. So many things they are doing so far. And before you know it, they are done with their business analysis program, and they move into their project and their internship, and they start to apply to jobs. They only started in January. And that's the amazing stuff of how you learn with us at Analytics. And this serves as your repository. Every single thing you need in your class would be found on this platform. And this is where you get to learn with us. Okay. It's a nice opportunity for me to transition to a non-customer facing role. Absolutely, in Yolua, it's an absolutely phenomenal opportunity for you. Okay, so I think this is where I think I'll draw the curtains. Remember, the discount is for for 10 people joining from this masterclass to get their journey started. Okay, the cohort starts on the 2nd of March, which is next week, Saturday, not this Saturday, the following one. And for those who would want to start in April, you can also do that by taking advantage of the discount today. All right. I don't think I have more questions in the chats. Ansem is saying work is calling. Absolutely, Ansem. Thank you for joining us today. It's been a pleasure hosting you. Bridget, I think I've seen Bridget in a previous masterclass. So Bridget, thank you for joining us once more. And for every other person that has joined and stayed up until this moment, thank you very much. One thing I want to advise is follow us across all our platforms. On Instagram, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and see the amazing stuff we have been doing within the space. Very, very what they do specifically, which I would also advise that everybody does. And this is what you do when you join us anyways. Now, for everybody that has gotten a job with us, all right, let's take somebody, for example. Let me search Zainab. Okay, Zainab that currently got a job as a data manager, all right? And this was when she got the job. You can see, I'm happy to share that I'm starting a new position as a data manager. Let's go to Zainab's profile, okay? One thing you would see with any Analytics alumni or alumnus, depending, is they have worked with us. It is never it's not, you won't represent yourself as a trainee. You would always represent yourself as somebody who has worked with us. All right. And this is what gives you the opportunity to discuss with potential recruiters that you're not just in this for the very first time. You've done this before and you have the skills. You've worked with Analytics as a data analyst before applying to this role. All right. So this is Zainab. Now let's check somebody else. Let's check Victor, who is a HR analyst, currently a senior HR business partner, Victor Oyeshino. Okay, so let's search for Victor and let's see Victor's profile very quickly. it's exactly the same thing, all right? So if you look at Victor's profile, you'd see HR analyst with Tenalytics, all right? HR analyst with Tenalytics. And that was what he used. And if you look at his projects, he uploaded his projects. And this was literally what attracted Hugo to Victor. And this is what we always advise our participants to do. You always learn in public. You always showcase what you've done. So he posted his project on LinkedIn, and that was what attracted Hugo, the company in the US, to come for him. He worked with them for 8 months, transitioned into a senior HR business role in the technology division. One last person I want us to check very quickly, and let's check out who now? Let's see. Ramat. I'm not sure if I've checked Ramat's profile before, but let's check Ramat very quickly. Okay, Ramat's business analyst secured a sponsored job with the NHS in the UK. And you'd see she's currently a business architect with the Midland Partnership University NHS Foundation Trust. She's been doing this since last year, 2023. And you can see her role with us, business analyst consultant. Business analyst consultant. Worked with us April to August. Now, when recruiters see this, they know that you are not new into the space. You have experience. And this is what gives you an edge for you to get a job in the space. All right. So it's a track record you'd see with all the people that have gotten jobs. And this is Ramat. And if you remember Ramat's profile, when I showed you earlier, Ramat, fantastic professional. I would implore all of you to go on LinkedIn and look at these people's profiles, see how they transitioned, and also listen to them on YouTube. And this is Ramat. Secured a job with the NHS, full visa sponsorship, everybody representing themselves as employees. And that's what gets you, because the same set of skills you'd learn are the same set of skills any professional would also use to get the job in any organization, or use to provide solutions to those organizations. So you are learning exactly the same set of skills. At what stage of the training does this optimization happen? It happens concurrently. So when you start your program with us, the first 1 month, you would have completed a specific module and also your CV, and you would have started working on your LinkedIn. So it happens concurrently. You don't finish the program and then you start to work on your CV. And that's where you see, when I showed you the classroom, you'd see that when you start your very first class, Microsoft Excel, class 1, class 2, you have presentations, you have your mentorship sessions, drop-in sessions, you start Power BI class 1 and class 2, you have your mentorship sessions as well. SQL class 1, class 2, you have your mentorship sessions, and then you start to have your CV review session. So 1 month after the program starts, you start to have all of this. So you'd have absolutely. All right. So you do this within a month after joining us. All right. Okay, so I'm gonna draw the curtains here at this point in time, and I want to say a big thank you to everybody that has joined us today. Take advantage of the discount. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us on any of our channels. You can reach out to us on this email, okay, or any of these phone numbers. I'm just going to run through that very quickly. All right, you can reach out to us via email, enquiries@tenalytics.io, or send us a WhatsApp message to any of these numbers and somebody would respond to you. All right. Share this with a family friend, share this with a family member, share this with a colleague in the office. Anybody you think this would benefit, share it with them. You would just be helping somebody break that jinx they've been having in cracking the code to get into their preferred career path. Thank you very much, guys. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend ahead. Thank God it's Friday, and I would love to see all of you joining the class starting on the 2nd of March. Have a wonderful time, guys, and cheers, everybody.